Huh, that's interesting. I didn't know a presidential election was happening this year. I had no opinions whatsoever about the candidates running this year. Maybe I should turn on the trustworthy news so that I can become a better informed citizen about the democratic process.
Good evening, America, and welcome to the nation's premiere coverage on this year's presidential elections, available here only on the NNC. We start our coverage tonight with a recent statement made by Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump. In a rally sponsored by the American Council of the Blind, Trump was reported to have engaged in an extensive discourse about his eyebrows. Here's the quote in full. "Look, I've got great eyebrows. I love eyebrows, and I have the best eyebrows. No one has lusher eyebrows than I do. My personal stylist, and let me tell you, she is the best and most talented stylist in the country. My stylist said to me that I have the best eyebrows she's ever seen. The best, okay?" Now, we here at NNC have heard reports that the questionnaire was instead asking about Braille signs at the White House. Now, in order to discuss this meaningless quote for an unwarranted duration of time on our broadcast, we've brought together three of the finest political commentators here in Washington, D.C., who have absolutely no political biases or motivations at all. Thanks for bringing me on the show, Matthew. Personally, I'm surprised and a little bit disappointed in the American voting public for how popular they've made Donald Trump. We, the press, have been working for months on end to expose Americans to the horrors of a Trump presidency, and frankly, I'm a little hurt that the American public hasn't heeded the warnings of the news media who knows what's best for everybody. I agree with you, Matthew. I've personally spent every waking hour of my existence writing editorials and feature pieces while I'm not busy manipulating the minds of voters of America over broadcast television. You all bring up some good points, and now I'm starting to wonder and really doubt if our Stop Trump campaign is really going to work. It's as if his rising poll numbers are because of how much airtime we give him. Maybe the media could instead focus on bringing fair and informative articles and stories to the public and letting the people decide on how they should vote. Right, guys? That sounds like the right thing to do. Right? We'd like to issue an apology to the views expressed by our political analysts, and we hope that it won't happen again, for our sponsors' sake. Our primetime audience levels have now declined, so it's time now to discuss the less ratings-boosting Democratic nomination race, where it appears that Secretary Hillary Clinton will handedly win the nomination. We can confidently predict her victory over Joe Biden and other Democratic presidential candidate hopefuls months before any state has actually held their Democratic conventions. My producers have informed me that it's time for the daily 20 seconds of airtime for Democratic Socialist candidate Bernie Sanders. To start off the discussion, I'd like to read a quote of Sanders as he held a rally in front of automobile workers in front of abandoned factories in Detroit. "Workers of this Rust Belt, unite." Now, I'll give you each some time to discuss this quote, and maybe some time... Oh my. That looks like it's the end of the 20-second segment we had on Senator Bernie Sanders. Well, that wraps up our premier daily coverage of the election here in the United States, and we hope that you, the American public, are well informed about who the right candidate to vote for is. We know that you will love her presidency. Well, this is Matthew saying goodnight from everyone here at Nightly News Corruption.